Am I the asshole for letting my vegan nephew eat meat and dairy during his visit? My sister, Rachel, and her husband, Frank, decided to go on a couple's retreat for their anniversary over the summer. Rachel is my only sibling and her son, Bennett, is my only nephew. Because we live on opposite sides the country, I only get to see them in person once every couple of years. Since I had recently moved to a beach town, Rachel and Frank suggested that Bennett could come for a visit. I was excited by the idea and told Rachel to send me an email with everything I needed to know. The email contained the name and contact number of the couple's retreat and flight information, as well as recipes for several vegan dishes. Rachel and Frank are very into veganism and New Age spirituality. Not my cup of tea, but no judgment. Though I usually eat a high-protein diet, I resigned myself to cooking vegan meals for the week that Bennett stayed with me. His flight landed late in the evening, after which we watched a movie and ate some popcorn before going to bed. The next day, I took Bennett to the grocery store to get some snacks and give me more ideas for things to make. He asked what I would normally cook for guests. I told him I enjoyed grilling and would usually make burgers, pork chops, steak, and seafood. Bennett said all of that sounded great and told me not to go to any trouble on his account. I was surprised and told him I thought he was vegan. He said his parents were vegan and that he eats whatever they put in front of him. However, Bennett claimed he didn't care about any of that stuff and would be happy to eat what I eat. Rachel's email never said Bennett had to eat vegan food, so I loaded up the shopping cart with various meats to grill. Bennett also threw in a couple tubs of ice cream. I had a great time with Bennett and was sad to see him go. Rachel told me later that the visit was the highlight of his summer. Everything seemed well until a few days ago, when I posted some pictures from Bennett's visit on my Facebook page, one of which showed Bennett tearing into a pile of steamed shrimp. Rachel called a few hours later and angrily accused me of trying to undermine their values. I told her she never said that Bennett had to keep a vegan diet and said she needed to discuss this with him. She said I should have known better and asked if I would serve pork to a kid from a Jewish or Muslim family. I told her that veganism isn't a religion and she should have made her expectations clear. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole for giving him meat, asshole for accidentally, I'm hoping, ratting him out on Facebook. I mean, you had to know that the photo wasn't going to go well. Not the asshole. I'm vegetarian and now ex who ate meat didn't eat pork, and we specifically asked friends' family to not serve meat pork to the kids. However, at a certain age, around preteen, I assumed the kids were capable of making their own choices. Which they are. X200B. You offered alternatives that were in accordance with his parents' wishes, but your nephew is certainly old enough to decide what to put in his mouth. If his parents have an issue with that, it's their issue. Not the asshole. Sure, 15-year-olds can't decide a lot of things, but what they're willing to eat is one of them. His parents are in for a rude awakening when he moves out and is allowed to cook for himself. Even if veganism was a religion, if the person wanted to eat a restricted food, then that is their choice. The kid is probably going to eat plenty of meat when he turns 18. Not the asshole because I think 15 is old enough to choose. Not the asshole. 15 is old enough to decide what they want to eat, short of an allergy. He clearly wanted to try these foods or has already had them, and your sister never said that he was vegan. The only thing I would have done is asked him if he ever eats meat at home. And only because if he never does, he could have gotten sick because his body isn't used to it. It's supposed to be introduced in small amounts. Then if he had said no, you could look up how much to introduce at a time. Other than that, your logic is actually very sound. She didn't specify he couldn't have it. And considering her parenting choices, it actually makes perfect sense, which completely takes you out of the asshole territory. Nadar. Apparently the kid isn't vegan, and no offense, some Jews Muslims don't adhere to a kosher halal diet either. My name is probably going to cause issues here, but not the asshole, and you sound like a good uncle. Not the asshole. And the answer is yes. If a 15-year-old Muslim wants pork, you let them have it. They are old enough to pick their own food. Not the asshole. 15 is old enough to choose his own food. I have to say this. I'm getting the vegan family happiness post on social media vibe from Bennett's mom. And it's not even a good vibe. The kid isn't vegan. What I mean is, he doesn't stick to a vegan lifestyle at home. Unless you aren't mentioning the stomach upset and intestinal issues he had after going into a very meaty and dairy diet. Unless he was passing methane like a cow, he already ate meat and dairy when not with his parents. Not the asshole. Sheesh. Sister should let the kid eat whatever he wants tbh, he's still growing. And it was a vacation. Good on OP for making it the highlight of the kid's year. Not the asshole for feeding him what he wanted to eat. At that age he can decide what he wants to eat. You really shouldn't have publicly posted a picture of it on Facebook. If you are going to challenge the parents about the son being forced to be a vegan, you have to go all the way for him. You should vocally stand with him and support him. Have a discussion with him and his parents at the same time and advocate for him. Don't just sneak him meat behind their backs. She was right, you were undermining them. Instead you should talk with them. Not the asshole, he's old enough to decide what he wants to eat. Bottom line. Not the asshole. He's 15 and can make his own choices about food. End of story. Not the asshole for giving him meat, but TA for outing him online. He probably sneaks it at school and with friends, and now he's going to have his parents breathing down his neck. Not the asshole. It's not a religious restriction or a health-related need. It's their preference that they're shoving onto their nearly grown child. He's not 5, he's 15, he can pick what he wants to eat. Not the asshole. Bennett isn't vegan. His parents are. He is 15, not 5. He has the right to make his own choices as to what he eats. He's been trading lunches and eating non-vegan food for years with his friends. Not the asshole, the parents are forcing their ideals onto their kid and he's not having a bar of it. Not the asshole. I think forcing a lifestyle you decided for yourself upon your children is child abuse. Their values are not exclusively Bennett's values. Not the asshole. I'd go straight to hell, at 15, if vegans was a religion. Not the asshole. Controlling mom who thinks she can force her teen to do her beliefs is full of it. Hate parents like her. She's why so many people mock vegans. She gives them a bad name. Sigh. Not the asshole. Parents have a right to set values and rules for their family. While I generally advise that others try to abide by these, children eventually reach an age where they need to explore and decide their values and lifestyle for themselves. In this case, you were prepared to help Bennett adhere to his parents' preferences, and only chose another course at his request. Your choice didn't put him in danger or undermine the rules his parents keep in their own home. Not the asshole for sure. The kid is old enough to make that decision for himself, and he is not vegetarian. ESH. Them for forcing him to eat vegan when he obviously doesn't want to, and you for posting a picture that lets them know, and then telling them it was his fault instead of just rolling your eyes on the other end of the phone, apologizing and taking it on yourself. He's going to have blowback from that. Frankly, if a Muslim or Jewish teenager told me they wanted to eat pork, I'd get them a hot dog or whatever. Controlling what your kid puts in their mouth outside of your own home ends when they're old enough to walk to a fast food restaurant. Not the asshole. His parents are forcing him into vegan diet. Not the asshole. In a way it kind of turned out perfect though. Uncles and aunts should be allowed to indulge their siblings' kids in a few forbidden things. It's not like you bought him cigarettes, it's food. Sister should be happy that edible forbidden food, a neighbor girl and time with uncle were all her kid needed to have a new freedom's vacation away from parents. He sounds like a great kid.